late because it was there again last week, or last time. All right, if we could stand up and pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so we have got everybody here for roll call. And let's see here, could I get an approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, 7-0. Let's see here. All right, we did not have any sign-ups for comments. So we're up to standing committee reports. Anyone have any committees?
Peggy and I were at, and Larry too, were at communications the other week. We reviewed the communications plan and kind of updated where we were at. There's been a big increase in a lot of the different types of social media platforms and other communication platforms as far as followers, so that's good. Talked a little bit about reassessing who all is involved in communications committee because it was kind of smaller at that time, kind of reaching back out to people and kind of seeing where everything is at and moving forward for fall. Yeah, I don't know, anything else?
Not really.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, just trying to see who still has an interest in being on the committee because it went from being 50 people to 15 to 6.
Yeah,
So-
I think the smaller the better.
Quantity to quality.
So,
Yeah.
All right.
Other than that, I attended my first MSBA delegate assembly on behalf of everyone and got to vote, so
How'd that go? Did you vote the right way?
I think so. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
We trust you.
And of course, we were at the insurance meeting, and it was all good news. Happy to say that we are looking for, I'm sure that, Marcia will be giving us more information about that, but it's, we're looking for, just steady growth at this point and, no big moves of any kind, either direction. So it's all good news for the employees of the district, so.
Sounds good.
And also at the MSBA Leadership Summit, I just wanted to take this opportunity to mention how impressed I was with the very first speaker that we had that day, that it just really left an impact on me in a lot of different ways. As a teacher, it really impacted me that, particularly when she showed the MRI and the difference in the how it affects the brain when a child is nurtured and, responded to adequately. And, when she said, no, and she talked about it when referring to babies, but then, when she said, now, don't forget, this is teenagers too. Nothing's changed, it's just, and that's how you have to approach them. So it was very, very interesting. And her name was Sadin, I think, or Sadin.
I think they said that the presentations are on, aren't they? Or is it just the notes that were on? Or is there?
I don't think they've recorded or not. She also did a webinar for the NSBA that I sat in on, and it was I think it was a more complete kind of the whole story. She didn't have the time to give the full story during there, but I think we're going to make a consideration to have her at the fall conference.
Oh, good.
Am I saying that right, Larry? Sadin or Sadin?
Sadin.
Sadin, okay. Yeah, she is the executive director of what's called Ducks and Lions Trauma Sensitive Resources and program director, creating trauma-sensitive schools for the Attachment and Trauma Network. And then it reads, more than 1 in 4 children in every classroom are exposed to prolonged trauma that impacts their neurological or neurobiological development. Children with developmental trauma face unique challenges in school. The school-to-prison pipeline is filled with children who have experienced trauma. The rarest approach to trauma-informed schools, albeit the most effective, is from the top down, using data to drive the implementation. in this session, she shared lessons learned from her experience as an administrator in a trauma-informed school and as vice president of Board of Education guiding a trauma-informed district, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think the ducks and lion metaphor she used, I think that's what everybody walked away with, but
Yeah.
at least that idea that
It was excellent.
they're different people, and they're
And
different way they're constructed.
If you ever have an opportunity to read any of her material, I strongly suggest that it was very, very informative. So that's all I have.
Great. Anything, Peggy?
No, just the communications meeting.
Couple of things from the conference. We were awarded the governance award, but just happens to be sitting right here. And I also want to recognize Kevin received his master's certification, which is a big deal.
Thanks. Another plug.
Good job, Kevin.
And the
Don't you
only-
already have yours?
I do.
I'm joining the club.
Yeah.
There were, 6 more distinguished? Now there's 16 total that have distinguished.
That's a hard one to get, really hard one to get.
I'd had it a year
Larry's got
early.
his.
Yeah, I was in the second class. I didn't make the first class.
Well, you had to be president, so
No, I had surgery, and I just didn't have time to get stuff done.
it's a good excuse.
Yeah, it worked.
Actually, I think we want to create a new wall too to put all of the plaques that we're receiving. Gene and I were talking about that.
Yeah.
So,
we
Chris,
gotta
if
get
you
him
could help
of
us
the
out there.
drawer. Someone.
And I think the other thing I'd mention is Nancy Masterson from Camdenton was elected vice president, so she'll start the officer progression.
All right, we're getting the blank stare from Chris, so we'll move on. Sam, did you have anything?
No, we haven't had anything. We do have policy coming up next Tuesday. I don't know, I may have to do it by phone, just because of the timing of it, so. And then, the only other thing is, I want to make a motion to change the school district name. So put that on our next agenda.
On the
And
next
we're gonna-
agenda? We'll talk to
Yes,
Chris.
We'll make it Maroonville, and we'll have north and south.
We may trade that for the plaque wall, but we'll talk with
We can
Chris.
have both.
Actually, we could name one of the entrance into Oakville in his name.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take
So
it
if
under
you can-
consideration.
If you can have that on the next agenda, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Got it. So, Lisa?
Yep, just policy next Tuesday.
Excellent. All right. Let's see, so we are up to action items by consent.
Oh, can I please remove the A? That sounded really good, didn't it?
Yeah.
Can I please remove the A?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. So can I
We know
get a
what you
motion to
meant.
approve action items by consent, 5B through 5F?
Second.
All
Tori.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 5A, minutes.
I just need to abstain from them since I wasn't at that meeting.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve 5A?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Abstain.
And abstain, one abstain. All right. Next is governance, 6A, demographer bid.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The Mehlville School District completed a demographic study in April of 2017 during efforts tied to redistricting with business information systems. And a desire was expressed at that time to continue to conduct demographic studies on a cyclical basis. At the instruction of Dr. Gaines, an RFP was released seeking proposals for a demographic study that would now focus on enrollment. And it's our hope that we could have another demographic study conducted and that findings be presented to us on December 10th, 2019. And this would include building by building and year by year projections for overall student enrollment for up to 10 years. And 4 proposals arrived, and the leadership team took time to review those 4 proposals. Based on that review, it's our recommendation that we continue to partner with Business Information Services and Mr. Preston Smith In addition to him having previously worked with the Mehlville School District, he's also done work for a number of school districts across Missouri, including comparison schools to us. And I would be happy to answer any questions you have about the purpose of the demographic study while I'm here.
The initial question I had was just the difference in the estimated cost from the bids. Because
Yes.
I mean, it's like a factor of 3 with a couple
Yeah,
of them.
we were surprised by that too, and I think it reflects that the work that some of the organizations sought to conduct for the district.
In business information systems, that's the one we had 3 years ago,
It
right?
is. Yes.
So they probably have a little bit of a leg up from basic
Yeah,
research.
they
they've
know our
already done.
system well. We're hoping that increases the efficiency by which they can conduct their work.
It won't take much startup this time.
Exactly.
In their bid, is there deliverable to produce the same thing they did 3 years ago, only with
Our
updated
focus
data?
is primarily on enrollment.
Okay.
So that's how we targeted the RFP.
Okay.
I have no questions.
Questions?
Good. Get a motion?
I'll move to accept the bid as presented.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks,
Motion
guys.
passes 7-0. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, we're up to preliminary budget development. Marshall does not have a
He
green
doesn't have
tie.
a red or a green.
I
He's
assume
blues,
that you
he's
guys know what the
Go
shirt
Blues.
and the tie
Blues.
stands for, so
Blues.
probably pretty evident. All right. Just a quick update to our budget from where we were on May 16th. Really, the main thing that changed was just changing the salary related to the teacher negotiations. So we've added in $569,000 for salaries and benefits to match with the negotiated negotiated proposal. So what that does is then our cash reserve now stands at 29.5%. In May 16th, it was 30.0%. So that's the change. We had an operating gain of like $1,446,000. Now it's $1,072,000. So that's really the main change. We had a couple of other changes where we brought down homeless expense estimates and energy expense estimates by about $200,000 between the two of those as well. So in the end, that's really the main change. Where that puts us in regard to teachers is we would have a one-step increase and then about $777,000 pay restructure going to between the base and some tiers 3 through 5 restructures that pay schedule. And you'll see the impact of that is on the pay schedule. There's a separate attachment to e-boards for the pay schedule. And that's really what you would be asked to approve tonight is that new teacher's pay schedule. So really, that's the main change to the budget. Really open it up to questions.
Because of the legislation that changed the school start date, will we pull the 2021 calendar out of the budget book this year until we can revise it?
So we have
yes.
pulled it from our website. We did that a while
Right,
back.
I saw that.
It won't be in the budget book.
Okay.
So our tentative plan is to have a new calendar before the board in September.
Okay. Thank you.
Are they also going to take a look, because I thought that there was some discrepancy about where fall break was in with conferences as well? Is that something that they're going to look at as well, or is it just, are they redoing the whole thing, or is it trying to just adjust for those days?
Basically, there are two approaches. One is just move the days from the front to the back.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of the easiest fix
Sure.
to get in compliance. The more difficult one is to essentially just tear it all apart and start again.
Okay.
But, you know, if you think about why had school start dates evolved earlier and earlier, well, what's changed over time? Well, Schools started taking the full day off on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Schools started taking election day off. Schools started putting in some sort of fall break. And then when you want to get the semester done before Christmas, all of that just keeps pushing everything later and later. So now essentially the first day of school will be somewhere between the 18th and the 24th, depending on the year.
Does it still make sense to have the fall break in there? Because I know the fall break is always tied in with conferences, and I mean, I'm fine with us having it, but it just seems like if we're going to have to push back so much later in August now, you know, like you said, we're on top of November, and then we're on top of December, and trying to get that in, does a fall break still make sense? And I know that's going to be more for the committee to talk about, but it just seems like the first half of the year, we're off an awful lot, and now we're not going to have as many days to play with when we could set our own start time with having to look at it later.
I don't know where they're gonna end up. If they want to stick around a 9 week, 9 weeks are now gonna be the first part of November.
Okay.
So that's,
And you don't want to do a break.
that's a challenge, you know,
Right.
so.
Okay.
Is it fair to say that we don't want to divide the semester over the Christmas break? Is it from an academic perspective?
We'll have to.
Okay.
We can't balance them otherwise. I mean, right now, we're pretty much 87 or 86, 88.
Okay.
But, and we can't do 80 and 94, 96. They need to be balanced. So semester will end after Christmas.
So it used to be, it was
Yeah.
not a big deal.
Through all my kids through 3 days.
Yeah.
I just know our teachers have talked about that before, about how hard it is, especially when you look at, you know, there are some years we have a 2-week break. You take that 2 weeks off and then you bring them all back. And trying to make sure that they retained all of that over the break makes exams and things like that to end that semester a lot harder.
And then the flip side of that is that the kids have time to study.
Sure.
That's good.
I like that.
That did.
Uh-huh, we'll go with that. That sounds great, Jean.
I'm going to use that on my kids.
We did this so you would have 2
Yeah,
weeks
for
to
my
study.
second wish,
Right,
Jeannie.
so we expect that
That's
you'll
right.
do better.
Any other questions? We need to vote on this and approve a budget before or by June 30th, right? So the next meeting,
27.
just so that everybody knows.
Correct, but we'd like to do the salary schedule tonight.
We what?
The salary schedule.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll move to approve the certified pay schedule and move employees forward one step for fiscal year 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0.
Thank you, Marshall.
What?
I said thank you to Marshall,
For what?
because I was thinking after he's going up there.
Confused. All right. We did not have any comments, anybody sign up for comments at the end. So we are up to authorizing for a closed session. Peggy?
Motion to enter a closed session meeting for the purpose of reading of minutes of previous meetings and corrections and approval of same and other items under the Missouri Revised Statutes 610.021, subsections 1 through 21, and 610.022, subsections 1 through 6, hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting particular employees, statute 610.021, subsection 3, and preparation for negotiations with employee groups, statute 610.021, subsection 9. Tori?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Sam?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Peggy, yes.
All right. We're approved for closed.